high-profile real estate executive Tom Diller. This show covers everything about today's market, from real estate, lending, investing news, market news, and more. The greatest thing is, hear from real estate market insiders.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Oops, sorry about that. I hit the wrong button. Can you believe that?
That's like a party foul big time.
I was looking up at your fantastic photo up there, and I hit that. I'm sorry,
It's not my theme song, but I call it my theme song. It's my theme. My theme what? My theme intro?
I'm going to have a lot of hate mail now because women, when they don't hear your full voice on that intro, it gets crazy.
I have people that just tune in just to hear that from all over the world.
I'm going to have to post that just so people can just play that.
Can we do a restart, or is it too late?
Yeah, let's do that.
No, I was just kidding.
Oh, all right.
No, I'm totally kidding.
All right.
You guys want to hear a restart? You guys want to hear the whole thing? Because, it pertains to you guys, too. It pertains to the guests.
I will do whatever you want to do.
That's okay. You know what? I'll do it.
Time for In the Know
there you go.
with high-profile real estate executive Tom Diller. This show covers everything about today's market, from real estate, lending, investing news, market news, and more. The greatest thing is, hear from real estate market insiders and the market's movers and shakers. Be in the know with Tom Diller. Without further ado, here is the host of our show, Mr. Tom Diller.
Yay! Good afternoon, everybody. This is Tom Diller, and you're listening to KQCK Live in beautiful San Tan Valley. Thank goodness the rain has gone away, because it's one big, huge puddle swamp just to get out here to the
really
combat,
is.
isn't it?
Yeah,
it's so
is.
beautiful out here, but
terrible.
The dirt road is.
Yeah, I want to know who I send my bill to wash my car.
Yeah, exactly.
Just send it directly to Pinal County.
Pinal County? Okay.
Yeah, they'll take care of it.
Just put Pinal County in the envelope. They'll get it.
I would send it to the radio station, too?
No, don't send it there.
Go in the garbage. Go in the garbage with all the other bills that he gets.
We've got puppies right now. We'll put it down on the floor.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you for listening. We have a couple of just, I tell you, outstanding guests. The gentleman to my right was actually just sitting on a panel with our commissioner of Arizona, Judy Lowell, and this is Paul Valentine from Arboleda Bruckner Law Firm. He's a tax attorney. There's CPAs out there, people who do taxes or whatever, but this guy's a tax attorney. I mean, which is, you got to be pretty darn smart to be a tax attorney, because I can barely read the easy form. I mean, that's just how.
Well, he's a pretty big deal. If you just ask him, he'll tell you.
You know what? He has that accent. I don't know if it's real or not, but he uses it pretty much. During business hours, he has an accent, which makes him sound like he's from Oxford or something. I'm not. He was probably from Fresno.
Exactly.
But Paul Valentine, thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we have Kevin Harden, who's been here before. And I try to get him on here all the time, but he's so busy in his business, and he actually works at Arboleda Bruckner also, and he does the. Tell me what you do. I always say loan modification, but it's not loan mods. You deal with the short sales, the foreclosures.
The practice group is referred to as mortgage mediation group, just like tax mediation group,
right,
et cetera. But it's focused on the idea of underwater homeowners that are facing loan mods, short sales, foreclosure defense, et cetera.
Are there still a lot of those people out there that are underwater?
Shockingly, yes. After the first of the year, we'll chat about the show a little bit about how people were kind of paralyzed by this phantom tax idea that, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world, and it's not so much. Now they're falling out now and trying to finally exit their homes. Right.
So we're going to get into that in just a second here, but the reason why I have both of them on here, because there's always, when there's a short sale or something, I guess, that goes sideways about your house, there's almost always going to be a tax consequence.
It depends.
They go hand in hand, or they could go hand in hand. That's why you're here. Before you get started, I can tell he's all excited, wants to get started. But fiscal cliff, and we got tired of hearing that last year. We're going to fall off. We're not going to fall off. Part of what happened is, did we fall off or not? What's going to happen if we didn't? And technically, I guess we did not fall off of it. But there's still some issues that are going to come up with housing this year, and that's what the panel was for, and that's why Kevin's here today. So Paul, I want to jump into you, since people kind of know Kevin. He's well known in 52 states and a couple other countries.
I thought it was 58
Guam,
states.
58 states.
That's what
Guam,
Obama tells me.
Yeah, and all sorts of Canada and Toronto, which we have a lot of Canadian listeners. We love you for listening. Tell us about your background, where you grew up, and did you like the rain?
Sure thing. So you can probably tell by my accent. I grew up in London, England, which is pretty similar weather to Santan, Arizona. What we have
now, come on now, this is the first time you've been out to Santan, right?
It is the first time, but it won't be the last. So I grew up there. I then worked in finance in London. I worked for a bank, and was more interested in what the tax guys were doing than what I was in charge of. And so came over to the US, first in DC and then to NYU, law and studied tax over there. And a friend of mine and my cousin called me up one day, and I was paying a horrendous amount of money for an apartment about the size of this table. And they convinced me to come out here, and I've been loving it ever since. I get the good fortune of going to work with Kevin Harden every day, and we have a pretty interesting practice, and we get to help a lot of people over at Arbelath Bruckner.
Your firm is getting pretty, I don't want to say famous or popular or whatever, but you sat on a panel. Kevin's been on panels before, and we actually have one of the partners, Steve Bruckner, on a panel with First American Title next month, which is kind of cool. I can say I've never met the gentleman, but I've heard a lot about him. So we're extremely excited to see him at that panel. So really excited about that. So you moved to Phoenix, and actually you've spoken for groups that I run, Desert Ridge SAR, which is the Scottsdale Association of Realtors. You talked about you just recently got married. So good for you. You're still married after a couple months?
I am still alive.
Still alive? Excellent.
He's a newlywed.
He's a newlywed. He's still smiling, coming to work, and he probably gets breakfast made for him and all that kind of stuff, right? No, he's saying no.
That never happened.
Never happened.
Apparently she doesn't do laundry.
You knew I was going to say it in a couple minutes, so thank you for taking that and saying it for me. But Kevin, let's talk about the fiscal cliff part of it first, and why people should care at this point, or maybe they shouldn't. I don't know. Any ramifications that kind of rolled into 2013? If not, what are some of the landmines or pitfalls, if there are any, if somebody's still thinking about short selling? And I don't know if you have any recent numbers, but I kind of looked at them, so I know they're there, and I know it's going to happen for another year or two. So let's talk about that. Let's start with that. We'll roll into the tax piece, which I think is very appropriate since tax time's coming up.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. I think what people were done is they were told the early part of last year that the Mortgage Debt Forgiveness Relief Act was going to expire. And because of it, you better short sell your home now or you're going to pay income tax. Now, Paul's going to address that specifically. But for me, who's dealing with homeowners that are facing the short sale, because as I sit down and work with the homeowners, every time we have a debt settlement, whether it's through principal reduction, through a foreclosure issue, what have you, there's a tax event. Okay, and so we have to work hand in hand. Okay, I actually have to depend more on Paul in a lot of ways, because gravity is going to happen. If I drop a pin, it falls to the floor. So they're going to lose the house. The question is, what's the result?
Right.
We need to know the answers. And so everybody was rushing to short sale. So it became the year of the short sale. Then the summer became the year of the backlog. And then finally they tried to spit them all out at the end of the year because of this idea that we were going to go over the fiscal cliff and they weren't going to get tax forgiveness. And Paul's going to address it. But guess what? It never mattered. For most Arizona homeowners.
Pure hype.
Pure hype. It became almost false advertising.
So 1 second here. Let me throw out the phone number. If you have any questions for either Kevin Harden or Paul Valentine, please feel free to call in. And we're going to actually talk about deficiency balances also. So if you went through a short sale last year or the year before, and your lender said they're going to come after you or made you sign a personal note, we're going to talk about that. And certainly we can't get into your specific situation, but we're going to talk about that in general or in generics here. But 480-745-1033. So again, call in.
We've got Dina Harden out there enjoying the show.
Excellent. Oh, it's got to be. Is that mom? Is that you paid your mom to watch the show?
That is my wife.
Oh, Mrs. Harden.
I would have never thought mom. I would have thought wife.
Yeah.
After 13 years, we're still married, and this is the kind of support I dig it.
That's very darn cool. On. So good meeting you. Kevin's a good guy.
Got to have a good woman.
I would have thought she listened to him enough at home.
There you go.
She doesn't get to see me at home.
Yeah.
I leave that house at 7 o'clock or 6:30 to the gym.
When the bar's open.
At the gym. And I get home at 10 o'clock at night. So it's, I dig it.
Well, good for you. But again, one more time on the phone number. It's 480-745-1033. Sorry for cutting you off. Let's jump back into that.
So where are we at? So we didn't go over the fiscal cliff. We rewrote taxes, and everybody's waking up to the idea that, guess what? Taxes went up for everybody.
Right.
Okay,
right.
So I'll let Paul get into that if he wants. So what does it affect the homeowner? All of a sudden now they're going, holy cow. What do I do now? I need to short sell my home, and I didn't start my short sale because I was afraid I was going to owe taxes, and now we've gone longer, and then they're hearing all this talk about how well our real estate market did. And it gets kind of
28%.
Oh, yeah, these big numbers. But at the end of the day, I still have people walking into my office every single day. I probably do 10 to 15 consults a week for an underwater homeowner today in Greater Phoenix primarily that are upside down client today owes twice what his home is worth after 30% appreciation.
What's the metrics on that? What's the, before it was like $125,000 less. Now we're in the $250,000 to $400,000 range, $500,000 range, or is it still across the board?
No. We are definitely moving up
the scale, right?
Yeah.
That's what we had talked about almost a year ago. We said that. We said, well, now the investors are reaping the benefits. People are reaping the benefits. People are maybe losing their homes for whatever reason. Investors are buying these up. Now it's really not investors buying them up because it's a little higher than what they can tolerate. So these are the hardworking, dual income, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 homes that are still very upside down.
Correct. And so their options are fewer. They're not going to have the options that Fannie and Freddie would offer them normally.
Right.
And they're not eligible for HAF and all these other programs. Right. So at the end of the day, they still need a solution. They still know that they are not going to own that home, that is, have enough equity to sell it and pay all the costs of selling it in their economic lifetime.
Right.
That means 7 to 10 years from now before they finally get to that point. And if we blow somebody's credit report up today in the form of a bankruptcy and a foreclosure today, this nuclear bomb event, they'll still be a homeowner in 3 years.
Right.
So they got to
and they save their savings, they save their sanity, and they move on and they control their exit. The exit strategy, right? Control it yourself.
If they truly believe, the client will come to me and say, well, look, I think my home might appreciate. So you believe your home's going to appreciate. So you also believe that another home would appreciate too, right? Well, yeah. Then why not get out now instead of playing 7 to 10 year catch up? Get out now in 3 years, go jump in a home that gives you positive equity, not play catch up and give the money away to the lender.
Right. One thing I want to mention is that we're not advocating short sales. We're advocating that as a viable option, and we're telling you about what would happen if you took that option. So that's one thing I wanted to throw out there. First American doesn't advocate that, but I personally believe it's a great option. Just like what you're saying, if you think values are going to go up, get rid of that house that you're upside down in. Get a house that you can start, I guess,
real equity.
Yeah, exactly. You start. You can use that money in the future. It's your nest egg. You get your nest egg faster.
Exactly, Tom. And a lot of people that come into our office, they talk about, is there a moral or an ethical reasoning or dilemma that they have with regards to, should I stay in the home? Should I stay within the contract? And one of the things that I'd like to talk to people with that kind of a dilemma that they're going through is that they should really think about, what would a corporation do? What would a company do in exactly the same shoes, and what would a shareholder's demand of the CEO of that entity? And if a company breaks a contract, right, but actually nets a windfall for their shareholders, everyone says, what a great job, what a great leader we have. They made the right decision. And who's on the other end of that contract is the bank that you're actually making the contract. So if they can make a buck by harming you in some way, and it doesn't cost them a lot, guess what? They will. And we've got evidence of that, because you've seen it with regards to all the foreclosures that have happened where they didn't dot their I's and cross their T's, and a lot of people lost their homes that perhaps they shouldn't. So I really do want to challenge people that are out there that think, that are going through this ethical or moral dilemma, and talk to them about and make them think about, what's best for my family. Am I looking out for myself and planning for the future? Because it's such an important decision that where, if you're paying back on a mortgage just to get to zero for the next 7-10 years, that for a lot of people is their retirement nest egg.
Right, exactly. You mentioned challenge a second ago, and this show is always about helping people and throwing out news that's timely. We talk about the media being 6 to 8 months behind sometimes, or even further behind. And I'm asking you this on air, can we give away a couple consultations?
Oh, absolutely, Tom. Something we've always extended to your listeners, and that anybody calling in today that is facing that point.
Right.
It doesn't mean you're going to short sale. It doesn't mean you're going to foreclose.
But they're going to hear about their options.
The point is, you owe more than your home is worth, and you'd like to do the homework so that if you make a decision to stay, it's an informed decision. Right. If you make a decision to leave, it's an informed decision. So again, anybody calling in today, and that's anybody during the show today that calls in, they will get a free consult at the firm.
Awesome. Well, thank you. That's a huge benefit, and the phones have been ringing off the hook. So we'll get to those in just a couple minutes here. You talked about the folks that they're still talking to you. They're coming into your office or whatever. Are you still seeing people that are using their savings account to pay?
It's actually even worse than that. What really breaks my heart is when people have drained their 401k accounts, or their IRA accounts, and that's really
now nobody can tell them to do that, right? A bank can't say you got to start taking your 401k before we even listen to a short sell, right? They can't tell you to do that, right?
Correct.
Well, not to interrupt, but I'm going to answer because I spend every day talking to these lenders.
Right.
They absolutely tell them, "Hey, you've got $200,000 in your 401k."
You've heard that before, right? So we're not making this up. And I've heard that.
You need to have a hardship.
Anecdotal.
Yep.
It's true.
Absolutely put the homeowner in a corner where they feel like it's no option.
But the bank will probably tell you that they're asking them to use that, and if a homeowner says, "Okay, I'll do it," then they did it on their own behalf. I mean, but legally, you don't have to drain that money.
Of course not. And it's extremely expensive money. I mean, extremely expensive because first of
penalties.
all, you've got the 10% penalty that come right off the bat, and then you're going to be paying taxes on whatever it is. Now, let's just say that your tax rate's at 28% plus another 10%. You're paying 38% on that money. Now, even the most expensive credit card out there,
that's like loan sharking kind of thing.
Exactly. So what you're doing is you're taking really expensive money and you're getting yourself into a hole with the IRS.
Right.
And so what happens is a lot of clients come and see Kevin first, probably a little too late, and then they have to come in to see me and see if there's anything that they can do about their tax liability.
Right.
Because as people know, it's never fun to have the IRS on your back.
Right. What's the typical profile? And this may be a weird question, or you may not be able to answer, but is there a typical profile of the person that's coming into the family that's walking in your door today? And again, it's tough to see that happening to anybody, your neighbor, your family, your friend, your uncle, your dad, your whatever, brother, sister. Is there a different profile today than was 2 years ago?
I would say almost without fail, most clients walking through the through the door today, do not have the quintessential hardship. I lost my job.
Hard-working Americans. Right,
these are people that this is the job I got. This is the income I got. I have there's no light at the end of the tunnel. I'm going to make any more money.
Right.
And I am now looking at this home that I'm now paying a mortgage. Here's the interesting thing. If you're a renter today, you can buy a home and make a payment less than rent and improve and double your quality of life.
Right.
You can own cheaper than rent.
Right.
But it's cheaper to rent than to stay in a mortgage that originated between around 2002 to 2007.
Right. So these are people, they're not coming in blaming their bank for giving them goofy, wacky loans. They're just, it's the economy. They're because the economics of what their home is worth, it's not viable for them to stay in the house. I mean, may not be viable for them to stay in the house.
Financially, here's the deal. You're paying $2,000 a month on a mortgage that's say $300,000,
right? On a home worth
$150,000, $180,000.
Right.
Sure, it's appreciating and it went up a lot.
Sure.
But you're like, I could be making a $900 or $1,000 a month payment. That's the critical hit to people's financials.
On a $200,000 house, yeah.
They say, well, I'm gonna break even in 7 years. So the cost of breaking even is that additional $700 a month you're paying, or $8,000 a year, plus the cost of home ownership over 7 years. Now, so in other words, Mr. Homeowner, you're going to spend $90,000 to buy break even. Did you break even?
Yeah.
No.
That's almost like the analogy about the 401k. You know, the 38% to do that, the hard money. You're basically becoming a hard money lender to yourself.
You know what? The one thing that I do think. Yeah, no.
You write that down. You can use it later.
The one thing that I do think that almost every single client that comes in is they don't want to lose their home.
Right.
You know, they're attached to it. You know, they grew up in it, or their families have grown up in it, and they're really attached to their home. But at the same time, when you put down the numbers and they can see it black and white, most people at the end actually do what's right for themselves and right for their family.
Right. And I can see how some homes or some people may have the emotional attachment. You know, they poured the cement for the walkway, their handprints are in there when their kid was this big, and all sorts of stuff. And
the
I can
expression we
that.
use, Tom, is Kevin's emptying Kleenex boxes again. It's sad. My heart breaks for some of those folks that are coming in. But they come in and they empty the Kleenex box and share about their stories. They painted the room pink, painted the room blue. Their kids were born in that home. And they want to know how to save the home. But once you give them the questions and the realities, many of them decide it's time for me to move forth.
Right. We've had several callers calling and asking for the free consultation. Certainly, we're not going to put anybody on air. We're not going to say any names unless they want to come on air and talk about their situation. Give me an email address where we can put on the screen here, and people can either call and ask Joe.
I have her emailing me the contact info so I can give it to Kevin. I got your first one set up there.
It's
Kevin.
real easy. We make it very, very easy. If they go to mortgagemediationgroup.com, just like it says, mortgagemediationgroup.com, there's a tag up there that says schedule a consult, and it's autopilot from there.
Is there a spot for them to put on there, KQCK or anything like that?
Absolutely. All they got to put in there is, free consult from the radio. I know what it is. They'll ignore the $150 consult fee, which is normally what we charge to spend that hour with them initially. Right. And that's just on our side. You get onto the tax side, it goes up. So this value is $150 plus the $250 they would pay on tax. It's a $400 value at the end of the day. Right. They're going to be able to come in. So, again, make it real easy. MortgageMediationGroup.com, click on Schedule a Consult, and it's autopilot for them.
Right. This is huge for this person, and thank you for listening. I'm not going to say your name or anything, but thank you so much for listening. And
I just sent that info out, too, to make sure they just do it on your website. That'll make things easy.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Joe.
So we hope more people take you guys up on this, because I do appreciate you guys doing this. So, and thank you for being here again. So
let me jump in here really quick with Kent from Sedona. Says, would like to move to the Phoenix area, but my credit is very poor. Are there some real creative ways out there to get loans right now? Can you help me? Now, is this something you work on?
Well, I'll let them answer too, but that's more of a lender/realtor question. We do have a lot of wonderful lenders that we do have on the show that do have departments where they work on that. We also have some great credit repair companies.
Exactly.
Yes, we do.
And I'm going to recommend Don McGraw at Go Clean
It's so
Credit.
funny he says it, because everybody asks us.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you get two diverse companies referring the same person, because Don gets all of ours.
Right.
Paul and I met with her.
Fantastic. I love
Something
her.
has to be said for somebody.
It's the referrals and not only the referrals. If I refer somebody, it's when I get the call back that says thank you so much for referring me. If I don't get that call back, I start wondering, should I still refer this person?
She's very good at that.
Dawn McCraw, Go Clean Credit. Google her, Go Clean Credit. She is outstanding. She does what she says she's going to do.
I've referred clients to her, and she's taken clients in the high 500 FICO post-foreclosure event. Okay, and 6 months later, I get a phone call, we've gotten approved for a mortgage. I'm like, there's no way. Their credit is clean.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's attorney-based. Those attorneys over there work very well.
That's key. It's attorney-based. She works on the legalities of your issues with your FICO, because there's a lot of things in there that can get messed up. That's gray. That shouldn't be messed up.
Yeah, she doesn't do the kinky stuff.
No, she doesn't just shotgun out letters like some people
Did I miss
used to
something
do.
there? What?
Kinky? That's all he heard was kinky. So he's over there daydreaming. He hears kinky. He wakes up.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Huh?
Yeah.
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
That's tax law all over, kinky stuff.
Yeah. But let me throw out the phone number one more time. Feel free to call, and you can use a fake name like John Smith or Joe Carrera, so I'm pretty sure that's a fake name.
Yeah, that's a fake one, all right.
480-745-1033. And is Angela and Cindy up there chatting?
We've got some chatters up there.
We got some chatters. So thank you so much, the folks that are taking advantage of chatting. And if you didn't click on the button, you can certainly be watching us live right now. So click on the little button that says "Watch Live."
That's certainly a positive thing to watch us live.
Absolutely. I've got Kevin and Paul here.
No, it's like the ship is going to tilt over. Joe and I are on one side of the ship.
Shut it out, Kevin.
The foundation.
hey, I have a reflective surface in my house. Thanks a lot, Joe. And then we got the lean, mean machines on the other side of the table with
you got
Paul.
The newlywed. And give him 10 years, and he'll be 25 pounds heavier. Probably.
Give me
another year.
months, probably.
There you go.
What is it? It's either marriage weight or divorce weight. Right now, I'm in comfortable weight. I obviously love my wife, and my wife loves me.
There was just a survey done about the heavier you get after you're married means the happier you are. So you're one happy dude.
Wow. We're all thrilled, aren't we?
He's a happy camper.
Wow.
You know what? We're almost at a half an hour here, so we got about 6 more minutes here.
Wow.
So let's talk about. You talked a little bit about the fiscal cliff.
Well, let me cue something up.
Cue it up.
Tom. You're facing a point where there's going to be a potential debt event,
right?
Debt reduction by way of short sale, foreclosure, principal reduction, what have you. And that's going to create a tax event.
Uh-huh.
What do you do with the 1099 that's a product of that? And that's really where it's
right. Let's talk about the difference between after the break, we'll talk about the difference between 1099-C, 1099 whatever. There's a bunch of different kinds of things you can get in the mail. And the deficiency letter. So if you got one of those, or if you got a collector knocking on your door saying, that credit union loan that or that 80-20 and the 20% is coming back after you, we'll talk about that certainly. You talked about the fiscal cliff. Any new ramifications, say realtors, we have a ton of realtors that listen, anything they need to know right away?
The one thing that's affected everybody is that 2% increase to your your payroll. So a lot of people in that first paycheck that they've received this year had a little bit less. But really the big provisions, that the Medicare provisions that people have been talking about, only affect individuals that are making or families that are making about over $400,000 a year. So for most people out there,
status quo.
Realtors
or independent contractors or business for self, business owners?
The one thing that the IRS is cracking down on a lot, they've actually established a new task force just for this issue, is whether or not people are real estate professional. And that's something that we're seeing a lot more of, the IRS beginning to audit individuals. And without getting extremely technical about the rules, a lot of people in Arizona invested heavily in real estate. One of the advantages of investing in real estate is that you're able to depreciate that and use that income to depreciate some of your income. But there's rules with that, right? You have to be actively participating. And what that means is you've got to be doing more work than anybody else. You've got to be in there all the time. If you have a management company organizing it, you're not actively participating. And so a lot of people played a little fast and loose with those rules, and now the IRS is coming in and starting to audit them. And the big difference between the two is a lot of people use the depreciation from the real estate property that weren't real estate professionals and use that to offset against their W-2 income. And that is something that is a big no-no for a lot of individuals. And that's something that the IRS is putting a real focus on, and they've actually set up a whole new task force just for this process.
So they announce there's a task force, so it's something that they don't keep secret. They tell you they're going to do it, so you better start watching how you file those taxes. And I know you're going to be doing a talk for me on Valentine's Day, I think.
That's correct. Valentine's Day.
Hey. Yeah, Desert Ridge. Not for me personally. I don't want anybody to think he's doing a talk to me on Valentine's Day or anything. It's at the Desert Ridge Scottsdale Association. It sounded kind of funny when I said that, And
it really did.
Plus, he looked at me and he tilted his head a little bit. I felt a little weird, but that's okay.
A little raised eyebrow.
Yeah, he's kind of a good-looking guy. I don't know. But
wait. What do you mean?
And that accent, I'll tell you.
He still hears kinky. That's all he's hearing right now.
That's all I heard.
Yeah, it's the accent. It's killing me here.
You could pull him out of a dumpster with an English accent. And Heidi Klum is saying, "Hey, let's go out."
That's right.
To be honest, that's how I landed my wife. So
she's American or is she English?
She's American. Yeah, she's way too hot. If she was English, she would be way too hot for me.
Plus, her teeth would be messed up. But I'm just totally kidding.
Hey, let's jump into Beth Ann's call from Tucson here.
All right.
Is there a way to modify, since we were talking about the IRS, is there a way to modify my returns to qualify for a house? Can you help me with that?
Modify.
Nice.
That's a question.
Modify my returns.
First of all, we don't trace the phone calls, so we're not going to know.
Right.
The IRS won't know where to call back, but that's a great question that you may want to call Paul offline. Now, would she call a CPA or like an H&R Block, or does she need a tax attorney to talk about kind of like redoing taxes to...
It depends on
legally, of course. We're talking.
I think her real question was, and it'd be better to talk to her offline, but I think she meant... the last 3 years, they just kind of had it done quick, and now she's really looked at it, and she's got to make some amendments and some things.
Sure,
Can she come to you to handle this process?
For something like that, the way that we distinguish it is CPAs handle tax returns, right? They're the people that do it day in, day out. They're the people that you want to go do that. The one thing you got to be careful about in the example that you gave is you have 3 years to amend your tax returns, right? Ooh. And so you're coming up to April 15th if you filed on April 15th. So you've got to get in there quickly, because otherwise, let's just say that the IRS owes you, $10,000 from your tax return 3 years ago. Guess what?
Wow.
You lose out on that money. So make sure that you go in and see someone before the April 15th deadline if you want to go and amend those taxes, because it's a 3-year window. And that's it. So that's something that you can do. Now, the other thing I would say is make sure that you investigate who your CPA is. there is a lot of variability in the quality of tax preparers. And unfortunately, a lot of the national shops employ people that really don't know the tax law or the whys and wherefores of what they're doing. They just know the program that's in front of them.
Right. There's a wonderful TV commercial going on right now about the guy or the girl that's in the dress store, and the dress salesman comes up and says, "Hi," and she calls her by name. "Hi, Joanne." And she's like, "Well, how do you know my name?" "Well, I prepared your taxes last week." And she's working at the dress store too. So
exactly, and
straight to your point.
There's one company out there that's right now talking about how someone read the 2,000 page or 4,000 page Healthcare Act.
Have you ever read it all?
Of course not.
Yeah,
there's
it's not possible.
And the thing that as we were talking about before is it only affects people that have incomes above 400,000.
Right. So why read it?
Right. And so the people that are going to that firm, I can guarantee you that they do not have incomes of 400,000.
No.
So my wife gets to endure every time that commercial is on. My wife gets to endure me grinding my teeth and saying something silly to the television, saying how this
the telly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Trying to make them feel at home. That's what we do here. Anyways, we're going to take a break. It's 5:31, but I was leading the point where you're going to be speaking at the Desert Ridge SAR next February 14th. You're going to talk about the 5 things that business owners or realtors need to do before they file. Was that the title? Yeah, 5 things to do,
or 5 things to know to
know before you file, right? Because it's too late to do it because it's the tax year. You want to jump into this one question before we take a break?
Let's do that real quick. Robert from Palmdale, California. He's closing on his home sale in California, going to be moving out to the Scottsdale area.
Yeah.
Has no idea, hasn't even looked yet for a home, but he says he's been following the market. It seems like that shouldn't be a big problem.
Yep.
He says, can you refer me to someone who can help me work kind of over the phone, over the internet till he gets out here?
Absolutely. And number one, thank you for listening from Palmdale over there. I'm going to refer somebody. In fact, why don't you call us? We've got a realtor actually chatting with us right now, Angela Monti with Toma Partners Realty. I don't want to. We have a lot of realtors that come on here. We bring them on here because they're wonderful. So I can refer a lot of people to you. But she's right there in Scottsdale, and only because I'm looking at her name right now on chat, I'm bringing up her name. But she is good, and I wouldn't refer her unless I thought the world of her and her company. So wonderful firm, great reputation. Toma Partners, Angela Monti. You can text or call back in, and we'll give you her information. But thank you so much. We're going to take a break now. You've been listening to In the Know with Tom Diller. This is KQCK Live in beautiful Santan Valley. We'll see you in about 90 seconds.
Are you ready to start taking control of your future and maximize your earning potential? Central Arizona College has smaller class sizes and personalized attention to help you compete in today's tough job market. CAC now serves Santan Valley and Queen Creek. The CAC Santan Center is located in the shops at Copper Basin on Hunt Highway, behind Barrow's Pizza. Stop in and see how taking classes at CAC costs a fraction of a state university, and your credits can transfer. So, if you want to earn real money, you need to learn real skills at Central Arizona College. Enroll in classes today by calling 480-677-7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu or call 480-677-7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu. Central Arizona College, your college, your way. Are you having plumbing or septic problems? No worries. Call Cartwright's Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service. Been in the Valley since 1996. Family owned and operated. Proudly serving East Valley and surrounding areas. With a full range of services from drain cleaning, septic tank pumping, general maintenance and repairs, inspections for the sale of your home. They provide excellent and courteous service for all your plumbing and septic needs. We're not satisfied till you are satisfied. Licensed, bonded, and insured. Call today. Cartwright's Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service. Contact Denise at 480-987-8051. That's 480-987-8051. Hi, Marie here for wanasing.com. Are you looking for professional DJ or karaoke services for your next holiday party or get-together? wanasing.com can provide the best in sound, lighting, and a professional MC to host your next event. Whether it be a company party, birthday party, wedding, or any occasion, wanasing.com is ready to provide the fun and make it a night to remember for years to come. Call 480-664-8801. That's 480-664-8801. Mention this radio ad and receive a special discount for your next fun event. wanasing.com.
Welcome back to KQCK Live. Real soon. Welcome back to KQ. Joe, you're pressing the wrong buttons over there.
I didn't press anything wrong. I just turned it up a little bit in our headphone. It messed up.
Okay, now I can hear. I'm hearing things in my head. It's me.
It is you.
It is me. Welcome back to KQCK Live in beautiful Santan Valley. We have Kevin Harden from Arboleda Breckner, and we have Paul Valentine, tax attorney from Arboleda Breckner. And before I forget, they're giving away not 5, not 6 or whatever, but they're giving away whoever calls in tonight free consultations, which is very cool. And this mic needs to be turned up just a tad. So our number here is 480-745-1033. You can call in and leave your information, or you can get online at your website there.
MortgageMediationGroup.com.
So www.mortgagemediationgroup.com, and there's a spot in there where you can put Heard It on the Radio or KQCK Live.
Schedule a consult. Hit the Schedule a Consult link, and then type in the radio station free consult.
Excellent. Before we went to break, we talked about 1099-C. We're going to have Paul talk about that. Really, this second half of the show here, we're going to talk about the aftermath of an event, whether it's, you lost your home in foreclosure or a short sale, and now some ugly things may be happening. Somebody may be knocking on your door. You may be getting these goofy letters, and you thought it's over. The house is gone. Why am I getting these letters? So let's start with the 1099-C and talk about the tax consequence.
So let me explain what a 1099-C is. 1099-C is the borrower telling both you and the government that there has been a cancellation of income. All right, and what that means is that the IRS will tax you on the amount that was canceled. The idea being that if you go and you borrow money and you use that money to go and buy a boat, right? Let's say you buy a boat with the money that you lent, and then the borrower forgives you that loan. Suddenly you have a boat that you bought with tax-free money, and Uncle Sam says, no, we're going to tax you on that money. So that's what the 1099-C is, telling you that there's been a forgiveness of debt event, but it's also, more importantly, telling the IRS that there's been a forgiveness of debt event. So if your tax return doesn't show a line explaining either why that hasn't been included or the fact that it's been omitted completely, then that means that the IRS, there's a little red flag that goes up, and you're much more likely to undergo an audit.
Okay, on that boat analogy, so is that almost like, so I short sell my house, and there's $100,000 deficiency, or whatever we're calling it here. That $100,000 is on the 1099-C. Does that looked as income?
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's almost like phantom income is this thing that's been talked about the last couple of years. So that's income. So none of that's in my pocket, but it's showing on my taxes as income.
Exactly, because when you bought that house, whether you didn't buy it for $300, which is what your house is now worth,
right.
You bought it at $400.
So that's a hard concept to kind of for people to grasp there. So that's income.
But basically, what's happening is you're going to be taxed as if you'd made $100,000 more.
In all cases when you short sell your home?
No. So that's the thing. Here in Arizona, because it's a non-recourse state, and because there's only really 6 or so non-recourse states in the country, non-recourse means it's a completely different tax rubric. It is not a cancellation of debt income event. Instead, the amount of the sales price is not considered to be the actual sales price, but instead is considered to be the total loan amount. Right, and it's a really difficult concept for people to grasp.
But you still get the 1099-C in the mail, so that's throwing people off, saying, what the?
Exactly, and this is what I was talking about before with regards to the overall quality of your CPA or your tax preparer. If your tax preparer starts talking to you about, oh, here's your 1099-C, you have a cancellation of debt income event, you know that you should probably go and talk to someone else. Make sure you get a second opinion, because for 90% of people here in the Valley, that isn't applicable. They shouldn't be getting that 1099.
So you don't have to spend the money to talk to somebody. It's just like, you blow it off?
No. If you blow it off, make sure you go and talk to a tax professional, usually a tax attorney for these kind of things, to make sure that they can explain to your tax preparer the right way to put these on your taxes. Because otherwise, if you just ignore it completely, you're going to get audited by the IRS, and they can find other things that are wrong with your tax return. Or
you don't want an audit, right?
Exactly.
So everything you just said, basically, the 1099-C, even though we said it's income, phantom income, in this state, it is not affecting your income taxes.
Well, it's not income because it's not a correct form. It's a really difficult concept to explain. But if you made $80,000 last year and you did a short sale for $100,000, you didn't automatically make $180,000. Not in this state. But if you were you were to go to a recourse state, say like Florida,
that's the way it happens.
That's exactly what happens.
Thank goodness. I mean, we're one of the hardest hit. Good thing we had that.
And that's one of the nice things about our anti-deficiency laws here in Arizona, that if you've got a single or two family residence,
less than 5 acres
or less, then the likelihood is that it's a non-recourse loan.
Right.
Now,
if I can comment on it so that the listeners really embed this, is that this is not a real estate problem. It's a debt problem.
Right.
People say, I need to go to a real estate attorney. Great. There are some good real estate attorneys that understand this, but it's a debtor-creditor issue. There's a cancellation of debt. There's a 1099, which means tax. And not to really be selfish in this, but it's the reason why our firm has been a leader in this issue, because within the same firm we have all of those focuses in one house to understand it. And you can't do one without the other.
Exactly. Right. So, I mean, the key thing here, if it's 2.5 acres or less, it's a single or two-family house, and it's a purchase money loan, it is a non-recourse loan.
Right.
And that means that there is no cancellation of debt event unless you keep the home, and then at that point, then there would be a cancellation of debt. So, for people that are coming, because I know it's coming into tax season right now, the one thing that I really want to stress is, if your accountant or your tax preparer is talking to you about cancellation of debt and you've received a 1099-C, just make sure you get a second opinion from a tax attorney or another CPA, just to make sure that they're right, because the likelihood is that you're going to be paying taxes on income that shouldn't apply.
What else are you seeing nowadays? So a couple years have gone by with short sales. What is, I guess, the aftermath of things that have happened maybe a couple years ago? Is that starting to crop up now, or does it happen quicker than that?
Well, the hangover is coming.
The hangover.
And I like what Judy Lowe stated. It's the sins of the short sale. I like how she put that at this at the panel that you had Paul on.
Yeah, that we put together. We want to thank you again for that. So yeah. So what did she say? I was out there probably.
Your after effect. There were many real estate agents negotiating short sales on their own behalf. Even though the Arizona Short Sale Advisory said seek legal and tax counsel, the homeowner didn't. Said, I can't afford it. Don't worry about it. Sign the disclosure. I can handle it. I'm a realtor. And understand that the real estate community, God bless you, but the statutes don't empower you to negotiate. They make an exception to allow you to do it, but you really, some of them, they really, God bless you, you're trying to make a living. I get it. But what are they doing? They're coming into our office going, I don't understand. I closed the short sale, and now the lender is trying to come after me for the difference. I thought a short sale made it go away. And here's the problem. Sure. Have we been very successful, if not inclusively, completely successful in every case that no one's had to pay the deficiency? Sure. But they also had to incur $2,000 to $4,000 in legal fees to fight it out instead of dealing with it properly in the short sale.
So, okay, I'm a little confused here. Are people paying deficiency balances now on loans that didn't qualify for the Anti-Deficiency Act, or did it all qualify?
We have had, in fact, some homeowners that have closed recourse debt in a short sale where they went ahead and accepted that liability as part of the short sale.
And nobody's come after them yet.
Well, now they are. The credit unions, and very famously, the credit unions are trying to pursue them, and they're driving some of these folks into bankruptcy.
And those, for people out there, mostly HELOCs. Typically, they're the second mortgages that were taken out after somebody got a couple $100,000 in equity. Boom, they got a house, or they got a boat, a pool.
Not purchase money loans.
Sure, non-purchase money loans.
But frankly, if I had to categorize, most of the people coming in that are being pursued, frankly, have non-recourse debt. debt that lender shouldn't even be pursuing at all.
Right.
And it's only because that approval from that short sale was so ambiguous, didn't have the right language in it, that it left a hole and an opportunity to knock.
Gotcha. A couple more phone calls. Joe, you want to jump on one there?
Yeah. We've got Carrie from Phoenix. She was a homeowner. She got divorced, and now the house has been sold. She says, I've been living on credit cards and have a lot of credit card debt. I was told, though, that this should not disqualify me. She doesn't know. Does she need a consultation, or does she need to speak to somebody else? She wants to get into a home
looking
and
at
start the
buying
process.
That's a mortgage guy.
Yeah.
That's a mortgage guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, thank you for listening.
So we
but
give her
yeah,
some advice
call
there.
a mortgage banker. There's a lot of great ones here in Arizona. Academy Mortgage, AmeriFirst, Peoples. I can go on and on and on. All I'm going to say
Anyone
is
you'd recommend specifically, or is that tough?
look at some of our past shows and see what fits your personality. I mean, there's people right there in Scottsdale that I could recommend if you want to call me offline. Let me just say, the last person that was on the show, the Creed team. David Creed, and again, I don't want to single out anybody because we do have a lot of great mortgage people on the show. We need to have all of them on the show because they all have a little bit different niches in today's market. But they were the last mortgage people we had on the show, so I'm just going to say his name. He's at Nova Financial, David and Lisa Creed, Creed. Great people, good looking too. So that's the Creed team. Remember, we wanted to come up with a team name because they had such a cool team name. But anyways, that's another subject. So you're seeing people coming after people that had debts that were not supposed to have deficiency balances, and they're being
pursued. A collection company, almost without fail.
Scare
They're either
tactics.
the credit unions or collection companies. Oh, they're more than scare tactics, because here's what's happened: they'll come in, and we find out they might have even paid some money. They might have started because I owe it. Now all of a sudden they think they have a bankruptcy conversation because now I'm going to file bankruptcy. We're like, well, wait, time out. I mean, bankruptcy is a great tool, but it should be the last tool you choose, and only when appropriate. Some of these folks shouldn't pay anything. We have folks come in our office that accepted promissory notes post-short sale to close that short sale, to empower a commission to get paid. They signed a prom note on a non-recourse debt and found out they never owed the debt to start with.
Believe it or not, Tom, we've actually seen emails from...
Paul, see where that red dot is? That's a sweet spot right there. There you go.
Believe it or not, Tom, we've actually seen emails from realtors saying, just sign the promissory note. Don't worry, the bank will never pursue it.
In writing, in an email.
And you can imagine, if that were to go before a jury, that realtor is going to be in real trouble.
Yikes.
Now, those are few and far between, and I think for the most part there are great realtors that have done great work out there. But remember, we're just seeing the effects from the 2009-10 short sales.
So this is going to be the next several years. You're going to be driving a Mercedes
instead of my electric car.
Yeah,
I'll stick with my electric
I got to
car.
tell you, for all the green folks that are listening out there, and we know we have a lot that are listening, he pulled up in this little electric sewing machine car. I didn't hear it. It was kind of like you guys whispered in, but no, it's kind of cool. It's a Volt. Is that what it is?
I'm all like, I've got the Volt electric car. I've got a 24 kilowatt.
Now this is far
solar
away
system
from where
on
you
my
live.
car.
You had to stop a couple times and crank it right a couple times.
No. See, Paul got in it. He's got
It's
one of
like
those
the
little
Flintstones, yeah.
He's got a hand treadmill in the car, and he just keeps generating electricity.
Well,
so
when
we
you
go down
pulled
the
up,
road.
I saw that you rolled down my window and stuck in the cigarette charger into my car, so you're zapping off my battery right now. But good on you for getting a car like that. That's awesome. That's
funny.
awesome. So that's very cool.
We're
getting more calls here.
Interesting question here. This one's very interesting. Thomas Kerr from Springerville.
Springerville.
That is.
I ride my motorcycle through all the time. That's on the way to New Mexico.
Yeah,
right?
hopefully he's not in the jail part. Isn't there a jail out there?
Is there?
in
I
Springerville?
don't know. We have more jails in Arizona than anywhere else.
That makes sense then. He's probably out there in the middle of remote somewhere. He says, I'm guessing this guy's a prepper. Because he says, I've converted all of our money to silver and gold. Is there a program to buy alternative currencies? He purchases everything with alternative currencies. He's in some kind of special group. And wants to get into a home out in this area now since the Mayan calendar ended and he didn't dissolve.
I'm not laughing
I'm not
at him.
laughing either.
I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing at the Mayan reference. I don't know of anybody accepting that alternative currency for homes, but there
take
is
silver and gold bars.
But there is an electronic currency being used today on the internet to do work, to get IT services paid, to buy certain products. There is a little culture that's going on out there on the internet that you laugh at it.
This guy said, he goes, I know you probably think I'm joking. He goes, I'm totally serious.
No, it's like Mad Max, Barterville. Was it Barterville?
Bartertown.
Bartertown, right?
E-bits
and everything with coins and current alternative
it's
currency.
It's something Bitcoin. That's Bitcoin is the name of the online currency, and it's a true currency that they use to transact business on the internet in this little subculture, and it's pretty interesting.
You know, there's and now I'm going to come across as a huge tax geek, but because
you are,
which is absolutely true. But
nerd alert,
it's coming. So and it's a double nerd alert. So in Second Life, a lot of people, these online games that are out there, a lot of people are actually selling their services within what they're doing in there, and the IRS and tax dorks like myself are scratching their heads and thinking, well, if they're doing work in a game but then they're getting real money for it, shouldn't they be taxed for the work that they're doing inside the game?
In the game.
So,
like Farmville?
Like Farmville?
Like that?
Oh, no, Second Life. Oh, big deal out there.
Scaring me, Kevin.
Avatars, you get to dress them up to look like real people. You interact. I mean, imagine...
I saw your 6'2" avatar with muscles and stuff.
Absolutely.
That actually is what I really look like. I have a special suit on right now.
So this
Tom.
is actually your avatar here.
I have a special suit on right now. Tom.
But to the serious side of it, Paul,
Kevin's avatar is me.
Gotcha.
Someone introduced me to Second Life a long time ago, and I imagine it's even more sophisticated today. And a couple days of playing with him, like, this has got to be for the 400-pound Hulka that's hiding off in some little corner doing this thing.
Right.
But people have this other alternative personality.
Right.
And I got marketed by these people to pay fees to put money in the game so that you can get new clothing and go to dance clubs. But these are fake dance clubs.
Yeah, no, and it's. I mean, I'm not familiar with it, but it's a whole industry that's devoted to this, and the IRS is now wondering, is the work that you do inside the game, should that be taxable income? And there's a whole debate out in the tax circles that I'm lucky to be a member of, that talk about how should this be taxed, and where's the line between recreation and work when you can actually gain money from your recreation.
Whatever source derived.
Should there really be a tax?
I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
I mentioned I had a little discussion with him on something called the fair tax.
Right.
It's a form of consumption tax. You want to talk about his eyes popping out of his head? And he goes, how dare you discuss getting rid of a job for me?
Exactly. As a tax lawyer, I'm all for the higher and the more complicated.
That's right. They have to call you for all that. Let's talk about, you talked about the prom notes, the promissory notes that people were asked to sign or forced to sign or whatever you want to call it. Should somebody that did one of those, regardless if it was right, wrong, or indifferent, should they be contacting you and using the free consultation? Do you want to see some of those? I think so, because it could open holes. It could open up other things that may have gone not so correct during their short sale.
I would tell you that I would open up to all your listeners. If you closed a short sale in the last 3 years and were issued a 1099 and your tax preparer told you owed a tax, lost your home to a foreclosure, got a 1099, and your tax preparer told you owed a tax, or you're contemplating doing something in your home, either stay, loan mod, or short sale, you need to be in front of us. You need to be informed before you make that decision. You only have 3 years to amend those returns. We talk about it. We have clients that have paid that tax, and Paul's had to go in and show them, you're going to get that money back.
Wow.
Right, and it's a 3-year window. So for the people that filed in April 15th, 3 years ago, that time is running out. So make sure that if you do that, it's imperative that you come and see us, and it's a free consult. So
earlier you mentioned principal reductions. Is that happening at all, or is that just a big myth or rumor?
Now it is becoming it's not commonplace. I was going to stretch it too hard, but it is no longer a myth. I probably look at 2 or 3 of them a week.
You look at doing 2 or 3 of those a week?
No, they come in and say, hey, before I sign these documents, I want you to look at it. What does it mean? And what does it mean? Okay, fine. There's going to be cancellation of debt, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here, Paul will take care of the tax side because there's going to be a tax event. They're going to issue a 1099. Mm-hmm. And we are seeing, we have a client here recently, was underwater due to their second, contemplating a short sale, didn't know whether to do a loan mod. Frankly, we literally made the second disappear. $320,000 second on that home.
So this is the first rewrite, so the payments are lower?
Second rewrite. The second disappeared.
Done.
Now all of a sudden they have $100,000 in actual real equity in the home. That whole second disappeared.
No short sale, no foreclosure. Stayed in the house.
Stayed in their home. It has unique features why they got it, but there are too many people that have left their home that frankly could have stayed. Because remember, we don't tell people to leave the home when they come in.
Right.
We educate them, inform them on all their rights, look at all the facts, and sometimes a loan mod and possibly a principal reduction is appropriate, and we see them and review them. Now, we'll say the majority of the principal reductions that we saw last year and coming in now have been predominantly featured around the Department of Justice settlement with the big banks, but we're also seeing others that are not. Aquin right now is famous for principal reduction. We're seeing a ton of those.
They were tied in with subprime, so they've got a lot of deals they'd probably like to see a principal reduction than take back more REOs.
You know what'll shock you? Most of the stuff they're doing is the servicing that they've bought up. Those guys went out.
Fremont Investments, the old Countrywide, parts of Countrywide, parts of all these other companies. And are they doing this because they get insurance money on the back end?
I'm unaware of any kind of reimbursement. I am aware that the latest round of mortgage servicing that they bought, they were buying it under 30 cents on the dollar.
No kidding.
Of course they can reduce the principal balance.
Yeah, might as well. Get a little bit of money in, right?
Now it's a performing loan.
Right. We only have a few minutes here. Believe it or not, we've chewed up almost 55 minutes. So we're coming close to the hour here. Couple other things that, if you're sitting around drinking beer with your 55,000 friends that are listening right now, what are 2 or 3 things that you would want them to know before they go file their taxes? I know you can't do anything differently because 2012 is done and over with. A couple things they should look at.
A couple things. One is don't let the tax tail wag the investment dog, right? Taxes go up, taxes go down. A good investment is a good investment, and don't be too preoccupied by these tax considerations. If you see a good business deal, make sure you take it. And then the other thing that I think everybody can work on is note-taking. There's a lot of new applications out there that you can just take a photo of your receipts or keep a track of your mileage and all of that. So if you can make it a little bit easier for your tax preparer by keeping organized and decent notes with regards to what you've been doing for the year, that's going to save them a lot of heartache. And if it ever does come to an audit and you need my services, I can tell you it's a pretty rare beast, someone that actually has good record keeping when they need it.
Right. Except for tax people, you probably have good record keeping, right?
Yeah, so. I try.
Kevin, 2 or 3 things you want people to know right now. Again, you're sitting here drinking beers or wine or whatever you drink in front of 55,000 buddies of yours. What do you want to tell them?
Most homeowners in a single 1 to 2 family dwelling in Arizona probably are not facing a deficiency risk in their home. That being said, we're not telling you to let the home go to foreclosure, what have you, but if anybody starts talking about a risk of deficiency, if you're not talking to a debtor creditor attorney, it's probably wrong. Lastly, look, yes, homes are appreciating, but already the new numbers are out from Cromford, which has a big presence here in this market, tells us we're only looking at about an 8% appreciation rate for this year, and it may go down after that. It's starting to level off. We had the little bounce. Which
makes sense.
Michael Orr at ASU, who was with Cromford Report, told us all that we were going to have that little rubber band snap in values, but after that it would start to level off, and we're seeing it. So if you're looking long-term in your home and you're underwater, it's time to sit down and understand the facts.
Right. We had a couple more calls. Do you want to...
You know what? They were mostly asking questions. Yeah, they were going to ask about the consult.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Joe.
Well, you know what? I want to thank both of you for coming out here. And again, thank you. The panel was awesome. Again, Paul Valentine sat down with Judy Lowe, the commissioner, Jim Eckley, another attorney, Tina Tambor from the Cromford Report you just mentioned. Outstanding. So thank you so much for that.
And thank you, Tom, for putting that panel together. I think it was a great event.
You're quite welcome. And Kevin, we appreciate you coming all the way out here.
Thanks, Tom.
And thank you for not shooting out more fumes in the air with your electric sewing machine car. I don't know.
My wife calls it a toaster.
A toaster. I think it's more of a sewing machine car, but it's really cool. The inside of it's kind of nice. So I'm not. I envy you actually for having that car.
See, I'll tell you what. You give me your motorcycle, I'll let you drive my car.
There you go. But again, thank you both. You're from Arboleda Breckner, very highly regarded firm. You do bankruptcy, mediation, mortgage mediation, and tax, and any other...
And litigation as well. Sometimes
these
people are getting sued.
You have a young lady in there that just rocks, Alicia Berry.
Alyssa Berry works for me. You got Carol Carlson, one of our other attorneys.
Yeah, so great people. So if you're looking for somebody, please take advantage of that free consultation. Get online one more time at...
mortgagemediationgroup.com if it's a mortgage issue, and taxmediationgroup.com if it's a tax issue.
And put down that you
radio
on the radio, and Kevin and his people will know what it is. But I want to thank all our listeners for calling in and for listening. I want to thank everybody that's been chatting. Looks like there's a half a dozen people on there. You've been listening to In the Know with Tom Diller, and again, I'm with First American Title. This is KQCK Live in beautiful Santan Valley. We'll be back next Tuesday at 5 o'clock, and we have another very special guest. Seems like the last couple of weeks they've been very big people that I've been trying to get on for a long time. We have Dr. Harold Wong, who's a very noted economist, and if you're from the Bay Area like I am, before Hawaii, the Bay Area, you'll know this name. So he's very big, and we look forward to seeing him next Tuesday. So thank you so much for listening. We love you all. This has been KQCK Live. Good night, everybody, and see you next week.
Thanks for joining us today on In the Know with Tom Diller. We will always continue to strive to bring you the best in guests and to keep you informed on every facet of Arizona's volatile real estate market. Remember to tune in each and every week at 5 p.m. Arizona time exclusively on KQCK radio station. When it comes to real estate and more, be in the know.